And today we're here to give you an update on ERC. Let's get going. I'll show you what I have prepared for you. Let me get that going. All right. So everybody knows ERC. And you know ERC because you get flyers, and the flyer tells you that, oh, claim ERC is a lot of money, and it's a tax credit and come to your pocket. You don't have to pay back. So there's a lot of talking about that. And you see plenty of promoters, flyers related to ERC. So how is ERC come about? You know it. And that was back in 2020 when we come through pandemic. So the CARES Act brought that in, and then it is expanded by the by two more acts, right? And one of them is the Consolidated Act that President Biden put out. Then the third one was the Rescue Act. That came out in March of 2021. So basically, a original act plus two expansions gave us this total program. So I want to share with you and what we learned from these expansions, and also with timeline, what happened right now. Let me quickly get to the slides here. So that's the ERC update, and I prepared for you. And no responsibility disclaimers. You see that a million times if you are with me and on our webinars. This is the video we produced back in 2022 January. So it's like 2 years before. That video, it is still good because it covered all the expanded CARES Act content. So the rules regulations is still the same, and there's no change. If you really want to claim ERC, you can actually go back to this particular video we have on our YouTube channel and just simply look at that. It is the right one. However, there's new development coming in, right? So I kind of laid out a list for you. So this is the 3 updates on the CARE Act related to ERC. And the CARE Act original, then you had Consolidated Appropriation Act, and then comes to American Rescue Act. After that, if you remember, September of 2023, and IRS issued something called moratorium on processing new ERC claims, because IRS started to realize that there's a lot of claims were not legit, and they were done by these promoters, and people just claim they didn't really go through to make themselves eligible or to understand whether they even eligible to apply for that. So with that effort, IRS comes around, says, okay, by September 14, 2023, for the next 4 months, we are not going to process anything, any new ERCs coming out. IRS, of course, they continue to process the ERC claim, but that was before the September 14, 2023. So after September 14, 2023, and they don't want to do that anymore. They want to pause. And also, the IRS also mentioned that, even though we issued moratorium in September, we still have $1 billion worth of ERC we have to work on. So that is where they are in September of last year with IRS. So following that, IRS came up with this ERC withdrawal programs. They're saying that, hey, if you submitted ERC and you didn't get the money yet, or you got the money, but you did not cash it yet, and if you just withdraw, we consider that you never even filed. So that is the ERC withdrawal program IRS is letting everyone know. And some of our clients, and in the very early days when ERC was just in the infancy, and even before the Rescue Act came out, and they did some claims, and it was just really, really wrong. And because they didn't know what they're doing, and the people didn't know what they're fighting for, so they were not correct. And if you haven't really cashed that check, and you can still withdraw. You can withdraw, and you can treat yourself like you never file, right? So that is one program IRS has, and I want folks to understand you can do that. The other one is called the ERC Voluntary Disclosure Program, open till March 22nd, 2024. So that is still coming up. So what that is, IRS is saying that businesses, hey, if you filed a claim, if you claim the ERC in error or receive the payment, maybe you can participate in this IRS program. You did it wrong, you got the payment, you got paid, and we let you participate in this program. The benefit of that is if you received $100,000 ERC refund and you knew it was done in error, and for example, if all your employees are your family members, the ERC prevent you to calculate qualifying wages on constructive family structure, which means that it is mom and dad, brother, sister-in-law, all of these people, right? Constructive family is not the same as just me, mom, and I have children, and the children. No, it is white, is much more spread, is much more related. So as a relative, as a big family, so-called. So let's say if you claimed $100,000 is all on your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and you got that money, and you know that is wrong because you don't qualify. And with that said, IRS says that you do this ERC voluntary disclosure and you return 80%. You can keep the 20,000. So this is in a nutshell, they're encouraging people to do it right, and they give you incentive to do it right. And folks, I will tell you that when you make a claim in error, you would have to disclose to IRS that who you did that with, how you did that, because that's the way for them to figure out some companies or individuals are just doing it grossly wrong, and they can fix that, correct them, or penalize them, or some of them could even be charged to go to jail with the criminal charges, right? So those are the information you would give to IRS, but for you to know that you're already wrong and you can get 20% kept in your pocket if you go for ERC voluntary disclosure program. All right, and what else we have on here? On January the 25th, the IRS announced that IRS continued to work on ERC. And so since IRS announced the moratorium in September, IRS has all these $1 billion claims they have to process. So what IRS did is they are taking longer time. So IRS says that just expect us to take more time because we need to put in more compliance, and that is all expected, right? So IRS will start processing. However, they need a longer time. And at the same time, IRS also said that they will be focusing on ERC audit starting on July of 2024. So right now they're still in the trench to trying to get ERC claims that in their office and approved or denied. However they want to do, they need to go through the process. But in July 2024, that's what IRS commissioner wanting to start doing audit for ERC. Yesterday, IRS commissioner announced the effort in terms of how to beef up the compliance work. So he talked about an audit, and he talked about a civil investigation and also criminal investigation. So, the commissioner gave some fact and saying that as of December 31st, the criminal investigation has initiated 352 investigations involving more than 2.9 billion in potentially fraudulent ERC claim. Sorry. 18 of the 352 investigations have resulted in federal charges, with 11 convictions and 4 sentencings, with average sentence of 21 months. So that just tells you what government is doing with ERC. IRS announced that they will beef up on the audit. Then last week, the House Ways and Means Committee voted to advance the tax relief for American Family and the Workers Act of 2024. to the floor, to the House floor. Basically, they have this proposal, and they put in, House Ways and Means Committee, and decided to bring to the House floor. And the American Family Worker Act is 100% in their budget. It is 100% earmarked to use the ERC money. So basically, it says that after January the 1st, 2024, no more ERC claim gonna be approved. So that way, whatever they save, they're wanting to use for this American family tax relief for American families and workers. All claim, they also in the act, they also propose that to give IRS longer time to enforce the compliance and impose higher penalty for folks who is doing it wrong. Okay. And in there, it actually says something like, how when you're doing things wrong, and part of the reason could be you don't know, so you did it wrong. But in this particular proposal, it is actually says that we'll treat everyone as you know it, you did it wrong, so that's intentional, right? When it is intentional, then it is higher penalty. So that's how that act goes. The final bill can still pass after January the 31st, 2024. The reason I mentioned that is the bill is on the floor, and I know it is not approved today. I don't know about tomorrow, but it still can be approved, passed after January the 31st. If that is approved, passed, say in February, then whatever you put in on the ERC claim after January the 31st, it probably just going to be wasted, right? So if you're eligible for ERC credit and you want to file the claim before the end of tomorrow, because you really do need to do that, because that bill can pass. The claim submitted after January the 31st, 2024, still, even though it wasn't approved, let's say by the Valentine's Day of February, the bill is still not approved, but later on it got approved. So there are a bunch of claims went in between February the 1st to 14, whatever, and you still don't get it because the bill will say it cut off right there. So the reason we bring you up with that is just to have you understand that is how it works when a bill passes, and whatever actions you take between in the process of the bill wasn't passed yet, and that is still going to comply with whatever the bill passed. All right. So now the $1 million question, should you still claim ERC? I will say that, a lot of our small business owners, and we didn't really have a lot of knowledge. You probably never even heard of that until you get this crazy notice in the mail saying that you can qualify, and that you got $26,000 in your pocket. Then you call, and these people just gonna, talk to you. Oh yes, give me whatever money, so I'll get that for you. So if you fall into that kind of spam and that kind of workflow, then you might at risk to be audited. But the thing is that if you do qualify, and if you contacted professional firms like Community CPA, and we look at your case, goes, yes, you're eligible to apply, then you want to take the opportunity to get that applied. Like I showed you the videos in the beginning of that. You can watch our video, know how exactly to do it yourself. So that video is 2 years old, but it is still valid. It's still valid. Be aware of the promoter scheme. So I already said to you that you really want to work with the professionals that you know their reputation, you know how they're practicing, and don't go for a 1-800 number, because as soon as you pay the money and they're gone, you can't find them, and you might just have today and tomorrow to claim. That's what I want to make you aware of that. Timelines and the claiming timeline, like I said, it might be ending tomorrow, right? But according to the regular rules, you have 3 years to do that. So for ERC purposes, IRS consider all of the original 941 filed in 2020 were filed on April 15 of 2021. For that reason, you have till April 15 of 2022 to file amendment. So that's where the 3 years I was talking about, right? So also for same as 2021, you have all the way to April 15, 2025 to file, because that gives you 3 years. That's a normal rules. That's nothing that's just normal. That's how it was before. It should be for all the other 941 amendment, but for, I think I'm getting calls because of my webinar. Sorry, I should just mute it. Then for those amendment, you got 3 years. But if the American Family and the Workers Act went through, get approved, then actually ends on January the 31st, 2024 right now. So that's timeline in terms of claiming. But what about audit timeline? It might be 6 years. You see, I have highlighted the 5 years. That's what normal is. So normally, and that's how it is. And the ERC had a proposed extended timeline already for 5 years, but now they're talking about 6 years. What does 6 years mean? 6 years means that if you claim ERC today, and then you have the next 6 years to open for IRS to audit you. So with that said, that give you some pretty big arching concept of what IRS is doing, what the Congress is doing related to ERC. So know where you are, and if you are already receiving ERC money and already enjoying that credit, and just making sure that you keep your eligibility documentation valid, right? You want to keep it, right? So that way in 6 years later, and then maybe sometimes in right now we're in 2024, 2030, and they come back and wanting to know how you claimed it, and you still have your document with you. Just make sure that is what you're going to do. And that concludes my webinar for today's update. And I moved some of the information to the back. For example, talking about our firm, I just want to point out that we have 2 books on internet, on Amazon, that you can purchase, and all the proceeds of our book, it goes to a nonprofit organization called the Immigrant Entrepreneur Summit, and that is a support community CPA give to a nonprofit that helps people without knowledge in business, but in conducting business in US and here, and follow rules and regulations. So we wrote these 2 books to support you. And this next slide is our partners in our firm. You can always go on to communitycpa.com and tap each one of us. You can get us to talk to you on videos, and you can book our appointment. And for any new information you want to hear from us, talk to Catherine at communitycpa.com. She will be making sure what you want us to talk about is online. So we will see you again. And this particular webinar will be on our YouTube channel, folks. You know where our YouTube channel is, right? And you can actually go on to our YouTube channel to learn what we have for you. And I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.